Hey, what it do? You interviewing with the troublemaker.
When I see your DM this morning, I laughed so hard. I'm like, now they suspended her.
Yeah, sometimes my mouth, people feelings be getting hurt. Not, I
That's
be
how it
sorry.
be when you being honest.
It be like that. But I'm happy to talk to you again.
Me too. I'm excited. What you got for me?
Oh,
I'm nervous.
why you
Did you
nervous?
research? Because you was talking about you did your research the other day. I'm like,
Yeah.
Lord.
See, I think the first time I interviewed you, I wasn't prepared because I had just finished the Capone and Capadonna and Capri.
Hmm.
So I was just like in on just that. I wasn't
Hmm.
zeroing in on you as the author. Now I'm on it.
Okay.
Now I'm on it. So introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, anything you want them to know before we get started with this interview.
My name is Jahquel J. I'm an author. I've been writing for 11 years now. Um, yeah, and that's it. I'm shy. That's it.
You can't tell by them damn books. What?
that's why I call it my superpower. I'm able to be whatever I need to be in the books, but when it comes to talking to them outside, I'll be like, I'm just a girl.
She's about just a girl. Come on now. All right, let's get started. So tell me your origin story. Tell me, was it the villain that turned into the hero, or was it the hero that turned into the villain? Where did all this come from?
Um, I don't think it's either. I just started like I've always been a reader. Like for years. I've always read. My mom's a big reader, so I would read all her stuff. And I wanted to write a book for a long time, but like where I come from, you don't see many people do that. You know what I mean? You get a 9 to 5, you get your city job, you stay in that forever, and like that's what I've experienced. Like you don't leave that. So when it came to writing, I was kind of like hesitant. So I was just messing around with it, never taking it seriously. And I got into a situation with my friend, and her man wasn't treating her right, and it was kind of that conversation where you keep having the same conversation over and over, like you deserve better, like he
Yeah.
ain't doing nothing for you. And it was like I came home and I was just so pissed. I was like, oh, and I just ended up just writing not her story per se, but like added elements in it, and I just started writing it. But I never planned on like publishing it or anything like that. And my older sister, she came over from work, and she my laptop was open and she was reading it, and she was like, yo, finish this, like this is really good. And I was like, I'm messing with it because I had a job at the time too, so I was like, I'm gonna write it, but like I'm doing it on my time. And then once I finished it, it was just like, all right, maybe I can do this.
That's what's up. You reached so many milestones. Not even just with the Delgados, not even with the Infernal Gods or anything like that. You had milestones before then about how many books you've already written. What has that level of output taught you about yourself as a writer and as a woman?
Mm, that I am resilient. Like there's been so many things that has gone in my personal life where it should have deterred me from it. So
Mm-hmm.
many people with opinions like, girl, you selling them books for 99 cents. Like that you can't live off of that. So like things like that should have been like, put this shit down. Like, what are you doing? Like I still kept going. Like I'm a person where if you tell me that I can't, now I'm gonna show you that I can.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say being resilient and just keeping my head down and continuing to do something that nobody in my family or even circle, close friends, has ever done.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. So, what's your creative process for keeping every book, character, storyline fresh without burning out or repeating yourself?
Notebooks, coffee, um, music. I have like I got a whole stack of notebooks here, like just filled with just different things, lineups, keeping all my stuff together. And as far as burnout, I've experienced burnout, I want to say, towards the end of 2020. 22 going into 2023, I experienced burnout like so bad. Like I wanted to write, but every time I went to go put hands to keyboard, it was like nothing was coming out right. I was stressed out about it, and usually when I write, my books just come to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very scary, and it was me considering like maybe I need to put this down. And I did for a while. I had stepped away from urban. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of the same thing. I want something different. I
Mm-hmm.
want something new. So I stepped into romance,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of helped me with the burnout. Like I was able to write, I was able to not really stress on the characters or trying to be different.
Mm-hmm.
So once I finished my romance series, Lenox Hills, and I was like, I had started having a feeling like I miss the streets. I'm missing the streets a little bit. But I promised myself that if I was to ever come back to urban, because I said I was going to take a break. I told my readers like, hey, I'm taking a break on urban and series. And I didn't release any series for a year. And I didn't release urban for a year. And I said, if I came back, I had to do something different. I couldn't do the same thing. I needed to explore different storylines within urban, which is sometimes is not the same thing that they want. They sometimes want boy meets girl, girl falls for guy, and he's in the streets. And sometimes the storylines, like within the Delgados, don't always hit right. They got to read it a few times before they like, oh, okay, now I'm ready for his story. After I'm like, just let it sit, let it simmer. So once I started Capone, I was like on this high, and I just kept going. I was just writing, right? I wasn't cooking. Everybody in my house was like, yeah, we haven't had a home cooked meal in like a month. When we gonna eat? But I just had like this feeling, and I just kept going, which is why Capone dropped as fast as he did, because as soon as I finished book one, I usually take maybe like a week or so in between books. I jumped into book two that next morning, and then book three, and that's how it's been going since with the season.
Mm. Do you write to heal, to escape, or to reveal all three?
All three. All three. A lot of things within the Delgados, even older books and other books that I have, are things that I've maybe dealt with or been through. And then escape, because listen, life be life, and sometimes you need to get like, sometimes the way you guys jump in a book to get away, like sometimes some of us authors be like, let me join this imaginary world that I was creating, because they ain't got no bills, they not stressing, the world ain't dark. So yeah, definitely all three.
Yeah. What inspired the creation of the Delgado family and the Infernal Gods? Was there a specific moment, emotion, or cultural reference that sparked them?
Hmm. I don't think it was anything that sparked it. I just was developing it,
Mm-hmm.
Capone, and I was like, I want him to be different from any other character that I've written. And in the
Mm-hmm.
past, I've written characters that will be in a relationship, but they messing with their baby mama.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be the good guy, but they've been doing shitty shit. So I was like, with him, when I was developing him, I didn't want him to put Erin through anything that she needed to go through. I wanted him to be a stand up guy, be a real guy. I wanted him. I kind of painted him after my husband, how my husband is. So I made him be the good guy, and he is. I mean, Capone look crazy, but you know he's a good, underneath all that crazy and all the stuff he was doing. He's a good guy. So that was the one thing that I wanted to change. I didn't want to make any of my main characters cheat, because
Mm.
I was kind of over the whole cheating troops. So that was the one thing.
And you added that extra layer to him when you got to talking about sickle cell, which is something running rapid in the Black
Yeah.
community. Why was that important to put that in there, and how he dealt with it in his everyday life?
Because when you see a guy like Capone, you see this strong guy. He in the streets. He stands on his business. This is the head man in charge. But underneath all of that, he's struggling with something. He has sickle cell, and being that sickle cell is something big in our community, I
Mm-hmm.
felt like it needed to be told in the story, because I have a few readers that have sickle cell, and even new ones that have come out like, I felt so seen reading that because we do go through that. We do experience going to hospitals and
Mm-hmm.
they think that they're faking it and they're not really in pain and going through
Mm-hmm.
crises and stuff like that. So like I felt like it had to be Capone and that story was told through. Because you wouldn't expect it from the male main character. You wouldn't expect him to be all this in the streets. And when I tell the story, he's this guy that's pulling up at barbecues threatening to bash somebody's head in and doing all this stuff until you realize like, oh, he has a weak side to him. And I don't want to say weak, but there's a side to him that isn't as strong.
You gave him that vulnerability, and I like that. Now, Black MC life has its own code and culture, different from white led club portrayals. How do you ensure that your portrayal remains rooted in Black authenticity?
I write about what I've seen growing up. Like my cousins all rode bikes and were part of motorcycle clubs and stuff like that. And mostly my experience with motorcycles. I don't know all over the world, but from specifically New York, that's where I kind of capture it because that's what I witnessed. Like I witnessed, them riding their bikes. Now, do I ain't witnessed them shooting out and stuff like that, but I witnessed like the guys all on the block in front of the barbershop with their bikes out, riding down the block, people riding on the thing, the socks on the shoes, all that different stuff. Like I've witnessed that growing up and seen it with cousins and stuff. So like I took that, what I've witnessed, and put it into the Infernal Guards. So when I'm writing the Infernal Guards, I see my cousins, I see New York, I see like the bikers in New York and stuff like that.
I loved it because someone that like me, I'm in that life. So you did where I'm not condoning the shooting. I know nothing about that. Nothing. Um, you did it so well. It was
Thank
spot
you.
on. Spot on. So the Delgados feel like a mix of trauma, legacy, and Black loyalty. How do you weave in generational cycles without romanticizing them?
I just write from experience, I want to
Mm-hmm.
say. So it's like certain things like Capri and her mom situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all, whether we dealt with it ourselves or we know somebody who's not as close with their mom, because let's be real, sometimes black moms, and it could be all moms, but right now we're talking about black moms, can be jealous of their own kid. And it's a real thing, and not a lot of people speak on it. So I felt like Capri's story had to be told with her mom, even though everybody's still like F Jean. Like I'm like, I wanted to bring awareness to it, but I also
Mm-hmm.
didn't want it to tear down her relationship with her mom because I'll hope if somebody's going through something with their mom, your hope is always to come together. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the goal. Like sometimes it don't work out that way, but that was the goal. And I didn't want to romanticize that, make it something that was like, oh yeah, she's going through it with her mom. And I wanted the readers to feel it like they were mad like Jean was real. Like that's what I wanted.
I think you brought layers to her character. As far as her relationship with Capri, you brought layers to who Jean was. As you read on, you saw it was way more than what people thought it was. Yeah, we be hating characters up front, but then as stories go on, we like, oh, now I get it. So you kind of sympathize now. Now some of you bitches, y'all can't sympathize with shit. Y'all just be mean. Y'all be fuck that bitch. That's how y'all be acting. So there are books before the Delgados that tie into their world. How do you continue across series while still allowing each to stand on its own?
So when I decided to add the Vanducci Cromwells is because it was a Staten Island book, which that's my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely wanted to bring more awareness to that series because I feel like not a lot of people read that series.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also a female street racer and a street racing family. So when I brought them into the Delgados, I wanted to kind of like give them that like, okay, this is Star, this is Carter, and a lot of people was like, okay, Star and Carter, who are they? Like, I need to read about who they are. So,
Hmm.
but I also don't mix them in there too much where they get mixed into the Delgados. Like, you know them as the Vanducci Cromwells, just like you
Hmm.
know, like Menace, you know Menace as the Caselli and stuff, and the Casellis and all of that stuff. I don't want to, and a lot of people always say like, we need more Menace, and I'm like, this is not his story. This is not his book. Like, he comes in and he's out, like he's mentioned, but he has his own story. So I like to bring in. I was just talking to another author about like bringing in characters from other books, but I like to like give a little mention of them so that when a reader reads them and they're not familiar, they go back and be like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Mm. Your POVs are all distinct. Even your side characters feel layered. What's your method for ensuring each voice stays true and doesn't get drowned out?
Well, with Capri and Mir kind of got drowned out in it because Amy and Capella like drowned them out a little bit with their drama. So,
Hmm.
I try really hard not to give my side characters too many POVs
Yeah, yeah,
where they become the main characters instead of the side characters. And I realized that with Capri 3.5, I gave Amy and Capella like way too much storyline and POVs, and they were only supposed to be side characters to the point they kind of drowned Capri and Mir out for a little bit, and I had to make a
yeah,
little switch in 3.5 by giving them they fix.
yeah,
But I try, if it's a side character, you'll notice they'll maybe have two, if most three point of views before they're either wrapped up or I'm not mentioning them no more because I don't want them to drown
yeah.
main characters out.
I like that. Semi, Mirror, and Menace are some complex, motherfucking vulnerable men. How do you write masculinity in a way that's soft and hard at the same time without leaning on toxic tropes?
I kind of just go off of my husband in a way because my husband, he's this man that don't play, but he's not afraid to be vulnerable at the same time. He wasn't always like that, but he is now. Like, he's not afraid to be vulnerable, and I feel like, in especially the black community, men are taught. And I grew up with a single mom, and I have a brother, so I've witnessed my mom be like, "Stop that crying! Stop being weak! Or stop being this or whatever." Because when a little boy cries, the first thing is like, "That's for girls." Like, so when you grow up, when these boys grow up, they become men that think, "Oh, I can't express my emotions. I need to suppress them." So when it came to writing the Delgado, that's another thing that I wanted to change too. My other past characters, I don't really have them that vulnerable other than if somebody's dying.
Hmm.
But I wanted to make the Delgados different. Like, these are these street men, but at the same time they will drop, like Capadonna will drop a kiss on his twin's head and don't care.
Hmm.
And they're there for each other. So that's one thing that I really, really wanted to highlight in the Delgados.
I like that. Menace's role as the eldest sibling who suffers in silence is that based on your life or someone close to you?
Definitely, I want to say loosely based off my life. You said minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, minute. Definitely loosely based off my life. Now, I'm not under nobody's bed smoking cigarettes, but um,
Or
I'm not
markers.
the oldest child, but I kind of took on the role as the oldest, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So, a lot of what Menace went through with always protecting his younger siblings and his siblings in general is a lot of what I experienced. And at times you kind of can go from, if you become the guardian or a parent of a sibling, you lose that friendship. I mean, not even friendship, that sister brotherly bond, because now you're a parent. So it's a different kind of relationship.
Yeah.
So that is what Menace, Zoya, Landon, and all of them kind of experienced because he had to become a parent. He couldn't be like, oh, that's my bigger brother. That's my cool bigger brother. He had to be their parent.
Yeah. When you write about things like grief, depression, child loss, illness, are you pulling from real experiences or are those stories of people around you?
Real experiences and people around me, definitely. I try touch each topic with care and not give too much of whatever person's situation I'm covering.
Mhm.
But definitely real experience.
Yeah. Capri and Blair are layered in growth, while characters like Tasha are pure chaos. How do you balance those arcs without flattening the emotional spectrum of Black women?
Mm.
You should have known. I said I did my research. I got these questions.
That's a all right, so Tasha was everybody if you grew up in the hood, you know a Tasha. Like that's
Definitely.
you know a Tasha, you know that mama that's always out on the stoop, her son ain't never doing right, but she know that, but she
Hmm.
don't care long as her bills paid, her nails done, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
So that's where that came from. Like I've met plenty Tashas. Now I don't know if they was cooking work, that ain't my business. But I've known plenty Tashas. I have some Tashas in my family.
Shit,
But
me too.
so that's where her character basically came from. And I didn't hold back because I wanted to capture everything that I've witnessed in these
Mhm.
Tashas that I've come across. And everything that Tasha is what those people are and what they have
Mhm.
done and what I have seen. When it
Mhm.
comes to Capri and Blair, I want to say they're a little bit of me
Mhm.
because Capri, she just wanted friends. That's all she wanted, and she gave her all to these girls, these hoes that wasn't the best of friends, was using her.
Mhm.
And I've been in that place in my life where I've given more than I got back. And the same with Blair. Blair is this person that she lights up everybody's world and she's this bubbly person and she's there for you at the drop of a dime, but she was going through some dark ass shit. And
Yeah.
nobody in her life really even knew it besides when Capri came into her life. So I
Mhm.
would like to say that they're a mix because I think everybody has gone through the transition that Capri has gone through from being in your 20s and being
Mhm.
young and going through life, divorces, relationships, and trying to choose you and putting everybody before yourself.
That part. Sometimes we gotta learn the hard way. I've always been the type of person. Until you show me, I ain't gonna believe what the next person say. But
Right.
once you show me,
Then and we've all been there with people in our lives where you've poured more into them than you've poured into yourself. You
absolutely.
never got it back. And it's just like that's where Capri was. She gave everything to everybody until
Mhm.
she ain't had nothing left for herself. Like she was literally broken. Didn't nobody knew that she was broken except for me. Like she literally was just holding on.
And that's some real ass shit. And I think that's why so many people are just like, damn, Jaquel, when the next book coming out? Because you
Right.
speaking facts. It's
Right. And then
like
it's
that.
like the ones that don't like Capri, and I'm just like, maybe you see yourself in Capri, but that you're not there yet. You're not ready to admit that you've been there or you're that person now.
Exactly. So your women don't depend on men financially or emotionally sometimes. What does it mean to you to write independent, career driven black women who still fall in love?
That's very important because I just feel like certain times with Irvin, we could get lost in the drug dealer taking care of the girl and giving her money, and sometimes we lose the fact that we're some getting money bitches too. Like women could have jobs and stuff. And I grew up with a mom. My mom was super independent. She didn't depend on no guy.
Mm-hmm.
She did everything on her own, raised her kids on her own. So I just seen it from me. And then even when I got with my husband, even though we got together as teenagers, you couldn't tell me I wasn't an independent boss at
Mm-hmm.
16. Like no, don't pay for my bus. I got it. I can handle my bus. But that's very important because I'm an independent woman myself and I'm raising a younger independent woman. So I feel like, and she reads my books now, so I feel like I have to switch up some of the things I touch on
Mm-hmm.
because she's absorbing that, she's reading that, she's taking that in. And
Mm-hmm.
my hope is for her to be independent. I mean, she already is, but to continue with that.
And I love that because at the end of the day, I know a lot of people say I read books to escape, but the realism is real. A lot of the subjects, especially in black books, touch ourselves. And those who are like fighting against it are usually seeing themselves because they're not at that growth spurt yet. Even if you 40 years old, some 40-year-olds are immature. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I see when you talk about women having their careers and shit. I was in the military before this man even came in my life. I already them. I'm raising these kids by myself. So
Right.
he came along. He was just an asset to what I was already doing. And a lot of women don't understand. You the prize, bitch. You the prize.
They
You
don't.
know.
They don't understand it, and it's like I wish more women knew. Sometimes when I come across stuff on social media, I'm just like, girl, if only you knew. Like you are the shit. Like you are the prize. You're the one. And
Exactly. So,
my oh,
oh,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
My mom's favorite saying was, "I could do bad by myself." So like I keep that in the back of my head all the time.
Facts. Facts. That's real. In a genre that sometimes limit female leads to be only love interests, how do you write women who are fully realized outside of their romantic relationships?
Hmm. By giving them personality. I want Capri, for example. I wanted her character from Capone all the way to her own series.
Mhm.
So many people had mixed feelings about her, and that's why I had her start in a marriage and then she
Mhm.
was out of a marriage, because I think a lot of when I got feedback from Capone's series was more so attaching her to Naheem, and she
Mhm.
wasn't, her own character. Same with Erin. Everybody attached Erin to Capone. Like, yes, that's her love interest, but Erin was independent. She had her own job. She was doing her own thing before
Mhm.
then. So I think naturally, just in the industry, people naturally will attach the characters to the MMC. But
Mhm.
I feel like with Capri, Mira's there, but she really, really stands on her own as a character.
That part. That part. And I love that because she was like, I am who I am. I love this man, but y'all better recognize who the fuck I am.
Right.
I
Like,
love
cause
that.
you'll have people say, Alaya and Capadonna or Erin and Capone, and it's like when it comes to Capri, it's just like, oh, and Capri, but they know Mir is there, but Capri just literally just stands on her own. She stands in everything that she's been through,
Mhm.
and she's her with or without Mir.
That part. So the playlist. I love your playlist. You had me listening to Bone Thugs and Heart, a song I ain't listened to in forever. Days of Our Lives. You had me listening to Freeze. I haven't heard that song in forever, and now I can't keep it off my playlist. So,
Listen, the music be ugh, I be behind my desk like one of my readers called me Funk Master Flex because I be back here thinking like I'm a real deal DJ. I be like, yeah, that's going on that playlist. Like I'm right now I'm in the middle of like four different playlists that I'm putting together.
you
The
be having
music
me.
be the part because when I'm writing, I hear specific songs. I'm like, okay, like with the freeze part with Blair and Kwasim in the hallway. That song, and I hadn't heard it in years either. But for some reason, that song came in my head, and I'm like, where did that come from? Like, I had this not on none of my playlists. I didn't even have it downloaded, but I was like, I gotta down. This has to go for this scene.
Let me. Okay. Whoo, child. The playlists are almost a secondary narrator because you give us an immersive experience in the books. How do you choose the songs, and what's the process of matching them with the emotional tone of a chapter?
I will read a chapter like that scene I was just talking about. That song just came for that chapter, but usually I will read a chapter maybe like two, three times and try to fill out the song. And then once I get the song, I'll go back through and I'll edit what I'm feeling, because then now you're feeling the feelings of the song. So now I'm like I'm feeling extra words that need to be added. But I usually do it like that. For my bang bang shoot 'em out, I'm already 9 times out of 10 at the shoot 'em out highway stage. So I'm like, I need something that's gonna have me back here turned up.
Girl. So, like songs like "Woman's Work" in Capri or "Freeze" and "Quasim," those aren't just background; they hit. Do you build scenes around the music or choose the music after the scene is written by even after you change words about a chapter?
So Capri's A Woman's Worth. I wrote that chapter for that song because that song, first off, last year I just learned it was about somebody dying. So I was like, what? It's about childbirth and dying? But I felt that scene fit Capri giving birth because in that moment, like she went through so much shit.
Yeah.
And for her to finally be there, bringing, after having to get rid of life at one point, to
Mm-hmm.
now be bringing life into the world and doing it with her husband by her side, her mom, somebody who she didn't think she was gonna get there with. So I
Mm.
felt like that song hit. I was in here like crying, like,
Me too, and I don't even cry.
like, and I'm not even an emotional person like that. But when I wrote that, I was in here. My husband walked past my office, like, "Is you cool? Like, are you good?" I'm like, "I'm fine."
Man, I look forward not just to your writing, but your playlist. Because I will be sitting there and I make sure that my Spotify is open so I can turn on the music just so I can read that chapter with that music. And it feels so different. It just, like I said, it's immersive almost. It's like I'm seeing this movie play out as I'm reading it in silence. Like,
And that's all I be wanting. Like, I'd be like, I hope they see it how I see it. Because each scene that I write in my head, and I think it's mostly why everybody say they can envision it, I see it in my head. And certain scenes, like, I'm writing, but I'm not looking at my keyboard or processing what I'm writing until after I go back and edit it. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is beautiful. Like Sim's engagement, I wrote that scene and I was just going. Like I was listening to that song and I was just going. I wasn't processing what I was writing until after I went back and read it and I was like, damn, this is beautiful.
damn, I love it. Okay, the pow pow pew pew on the expressways, in diners, in clubhouses. Your action scenes are vivid. Where do they come from? Movies, music videos, dreams, or just your imagination in general?
I'm gonna go with imagination and dreams. The
Mm-hmm.
first shooting highway scene in Capone 3, that's the first scene. I had, I think I was asleep. I was
Mm-hmm.
doing something, but I jumped up. I came in my office and I put on. And the crazy thing is, I was gonna put the songs recommendation since Capone, but I was like, nah, that's corny. They ain't gonna want that. But I put a song on and I just was going. I was just writing. I wasn't even processing it. And I'm like, when I went to read it back, and I'm like, is doing a highway scene too much? Like I really sat on it. Like I don't know if I'm gonna put this there, but then I'm like, you know what? And I told myself if I was gonna come back to urban, it got to be different. So I was like, it's different. This is what you wanted. Leave it in there. And then little did I know that was what everybody was like, a highway scene, and I'm just like, okay, good thing I didn't take it out.
I look forward to it, honestly. So what does violence mean in your books? Is it power, release, consequence, or protection? Or a little bit of all that?
All of that for sure.
Now, let's talk about the Vipers. The Vipers are messy and dangerous. Some villains are loud, others lurk in the shadows. Where do these antagonists come from? Fiction, real life, or a mix of niggas that really piss you off?
Mm. I'm gonna go with a mix. I usually, if I don't like somebody or I don't have beef with anybody, but if I don't like you or we've had exchanges in the past where it's just like your vibe is off, you're definitely gonna be a villain. Like you're definitely gonna be the op. But the Vipers, they are a mix of every. They are like the dumbest criminals. So I just throw a mix of anybody that I know that I'm like,
Mm.
you like in there. They barely holding on anyway, so it's like y'all not gonna get much screen time anyway.
Parents in your books are present even when off screen. Um, how do you how do generational relationships shape your character's decision making?
I would say It shapes it a lot because you have Dez, and for example, Dez is very present in his son's life, both his son's life. So a lot of how Capone and Capadonna move is because of what they witnessed when it comes to Dez and Gene and their relationship. Even though they didn't know, the ins and outs and stuff when they were younger and stuff like that, but all they saw was Dez loving the hell out of their mom. Same with Kwame and Kwasim. Even through Nina having everything she had going on, Quentin loved the hell out of Mina. He's never stopped loving his wife and never stopped showing the boys what love was. So I think a lot of their decision making when it comes to whether women or building life and legacy, it comes from the fathers who laid down the foundation.
Mm. Mm. Do you believe the villain is ever truly evil in your stories, or are they just the product of their own path?
Tasha,
Own pain.
people would say Tasha was evil, but she was just a product of her own path. Like she literally, you like we were just discussing. We know Tasha's like this is what they know, and they go. Tasha was just literally doing what she know. She's always been somebody that cooked work, and she was only just trying to put her son in that position because to her and her mom cooked work, so she only did what she saw. So she was trying to put her son in that position as well, whether it was wrong, like put that boy in school, let him have a life. But in her eyes, she was doing what her mom did and hoping to have her son be like Capone and Naheem and have this money and all this different kind of stuff. So I would say she was evil for some of the shit she did, but she wasn't all the way evil.
I do think the Tashas in all of our lives, those who have them, are a product of their environments. But when you reach a certain age,
you gotta change.
You gotta change, and you know better. You know
right.
what I'm saying? So that's why I hated her. It wasn't I understood her situation and shit that was going on around her, but at a certain age, bitch, come on.
Let's get it together. Like we gotta grow up. I was just having this conversation with a friend about people from our neighborhood, and I'm like, at a certain time, you gotta change. Like you when you bring life into this world, it's time to change it up. Like you want better for your kids.
Exactly. So, Core. Core is confident in loving two women at once. How is writing a poly relationship different from writing a monogamous one?
It's a struggle in the way because for me it comes out easily, but when readers read it, you have those. Why does he like Jeffy more? Like, no, him and Skylar vibe more. And I'm just like, I literally write them equally, but they're different women. Like, Skylar is different than Jeffy from Skylar. So it is a challenge because you want to make sure that when you're writing about both women, that the reader feels like they're both getting him equally. And I, as the writer, feel like that, but people, when they first read the dynamic, they're like, his chemistry with Skylar is so much better. Like him and Jeffy don't, and I'm just like, him and Jeffy know each other. They've grew up together. Him and Skylar, it feels strong because him and Skylar get to know each other. It's not really much ground. I haven't covered his ground with Jeffy yet, only bits and pieces in Menace's book and stuff. But him and Skylar, that was the attention in Capri 3.5. It wasn't him and Jeffy.
Yeah. I think, honestly, this is just my opinion. Don't jump down my throat because I know how you girls like to tussle and shit. But I think that they make each other better. They are literally, one is one way and it literally makes him a better individual. One way because they both fit different personalities within him because he is if you read it, he's very, very layered. And so each one of them compliment him. And by themselves compliment each other as women in this relationship. So I can't see how people be like, nah, I don't like her or I don't like her. They compliment him. They one and the same, actually.
Exactly. Like he has his thing with Skylar. They can connect on their the digital world and doing that kind of stuff. But him and Jeffy, they have that relationship that goes way back, where
Mm-hmm.
Jeffy's his calm and Skylar's his turn up. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of people gonna be surprised with his story, especially when some people be like, why can't he just be with Skylar? And I'm like, it would be literally, other than the fact that he is the missing piece in the hidden kid, there would be no point to give Core a book. I could just cover him through Menace's book or the Caselli books rather than give him his own storyline. I feel like he needed something that was different from him and from the Delgado siblings. And that is different. He wasn't raised with them, so he's not the same as them. And I feel like this is his different.
Exactly. And that's why I like him. I like him. I don't like him. Now, wait a minute. I don't like him as my fave before one of y'all say something. Jeez. What makes love feel real in your books? The sex, the sacrifice, or the safety, or just all of that?
All three of those things, because three of those things are love. Like when you love somebody, you sacrifice, and definitely the sex.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely you have to feel safe with your person. And I always say that I feel like when you feel safe with this person, like you will walk blindfolded down the street holding their hands because you know that you're safe with them. Not even physically, just your heart is safe with them. They make you feel good. They make you think of the future. And I used to be a person that was like, forever isn't forever. Like, I don't believe in forever. And only because of what I've seen growing up. Forever wasn't forever. But being with my husband, I feel safe. I feel seen. I feel heard. So it's easy to convey that into my writing because these are things that I'm experiencing on a daily basis.
Yeah. And I feel that because I'm more of I have my more masculine side. You know what I'm saying? And so my husband, he's very vulnerable, but he can, now wait a minute, real quick. But he makes me want to be safe and vulnerable and soft when I'm around him.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody catch me at a book event, they'd be shocked. Like, damn, she really, damn, she all soft and cuddly with him.
Right, and that's what love is. Like when you can really peel back your layers and be who you are. And I'm just naturally a person that I've seen my mom be a go-getter, and she's had to be this tough person. She couldn't be soft. So I'm naturally somebody. So when I'm with my husband, girl, I'm blind. Like somebody could be behind us with a gun. I don't know what's going on because I'm with him. I trust that I'm gonna be good. Sometimes he'd be like, "You ain't see that?" I'm like, "No, like I'm with you.
Right.
Like, let's talk about it. What did we see?" Because I just be blind. And that's what love is, when you can really be who you are and be like, babe, or baby, or calling them little stupid ass names.
Jahquel, my husband is right here talking about something. Yup.
That's how, listen, we be out and I just be like, and he be like, you ain't see, and his head is on a swivel. When we go to restaurants, he'll purposely be like, you sit here, I'm gonna sit here, because that's who he is. He's overprotective, he's paranoid, he grew up in the hood. So these are things I'm used to it. Like me, when we first met, he was like, get on this side of the sidewalk, and I ain't never experienced. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Then when I started learning, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that means. And but other than that, I'll be blind as a bat walking, like, you got us, daddy, you do it.
I only got my head on a swivel when I'm not around him.
Right.
When I'm not around him,
I'll peep you from miles away, like, yeah, he looks shaky.
But when I'm with him, he just said I'll be in La La Land with him.
But that's really this is where we really be at, because I don't be knowing what somebody got on. What if somebody came and bust me in my head when I was with him? I would not be able to tell you what they had on, what they looked like, none of that, because I'm not even paying attention.
Facts. Okay. So what has this series done for your life mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically?
Mentally, it's a lot because I cover so many things. So I'm feeling so many different things, and also putting a little bit of myself within the series. So sometimes I gotta step back and be like, okay. And most of the things, like with Qasim, I want to say the most emotional season. So
Mm,
his season has been really, really kind of dark, especially with grieving and
mm,
stuff. So I've had to take breaks. But
mm.
physically, my hands, I have my little hand things. I gotta put my hands in my little massages every night and get hand massages for my husband because man, my hands they tore up.
Ooh,
But yeah.
damn. So let's talk about pirating because I know you had an issue with that. And pirating in the indie black author work is rampant. How has piracy affected your creativity or your trust in readers?
It especially when it's like I know with Qasim part one, it came out and the next day one of my readers sent me an email. She's like, "Hey, I don't know if you know, but your book is up here." And I'm just like, it didn't even come out 24 hours ago.
God
So
damn.
it's really disheartening and it can discourage you, but I have readers that literally send me all the time, like, "Hey, your book's here," and they will not support that shit. Like I think they be more pissed than me. Like,
Mhm.
who can we stop? Who can we do this? Like, I just had an instant with Menace. They put Menace on Apple Books with white people on the cover, and right, I'm like, not only did you steal my shit, but then you gonna make my characters white. But I had to write them like, "Hey, this is stolen. I don't have this up here, blah blah blah." And thankfully, they were quick and they took it down. And recently, I've had my series "Homie Lovers and Friends" up on Apple Books, and then I think it's on Kobo now.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's any piracy. I think it's my old publisher because her name's listed. So I've been fighting. Apple Books took it down, but Kobo is kind of like fighting me on it. So I've been working on trying to get it down. It's been a struggle because they want you to go through all these loops, and it's like, hey, you didn't make the person stealing my content go through any of these loops to put it up. So for those that want to know why Homie Lovers and Friends is not on KU, that's the reason, because Amazon with KU you have to be exclusive to Amazon.
Mhm.
And Amazon reached out and told me like, "Hey, your books are on these sites and we're giving you one more warning, and if you don't, we're gonna pull all of my books would be taken down off the KU and suspended for a year." So I had no choice but to remove them just to protect myself.
Damn, that's insane. Now let's talk about boundaries. The popularity and the support sounds great until the boundaries are crossed. What boundaries do you wish readers respected more when it comes to authors and their piece?
I would say, where do I start? No, I'm just kidding. um, I would say the boundaries of, if you didn't like a book, if
Mm-hmm.
you didn't like my book, that I am well aware that everything I write may not be everybody's cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
I have people that, there's about four of them. They will come in my DMs and tell me what they didn't like about my book or what pissed them off. I get emails sometimes about books that they didn't like or something that didn't seem realistic, and I'm like, all right, fiction, but um I wish they respected that where it comes to an author's piece, because we're vulnerable in putting our work out there to the world for everybody to read. And some of this is more, for some authors, is healing because we add our own life into it. So when you don't like something, just don't like it. Leave a bad review like everybody else. I feel like coming to the person and saying it, or those that will make a reaction video and tag the author. You're free to do whatever you want on your Booktalk. If I see something, I've seen plenty of people that didn't like the Delgados in a negative, and I keep it pushing. But I hate those that tag me, because then I feel like now you asking to see the Jahquel that's out, that's not online. Now you want me to come out outside of myself. I don't. I just keep it pushing. But I feel like those are the boundaries. If you don't like something, you're fine not to like it, but to tag the author and put it in their face, it's kind of like, why?
Yeah, I'm gonna choose my words.
We
Because
don't need you getting suspended over here.
I already been suspended on my other page. So I feel like y'all take, some people take, and this is a general statement, this is not directing anybody. Nicole, I swear I'm finna be nice. Um, I feel like people misconstrue that they know the authors like personally, and they take out their frustration not knowing that you are mentally fucking with people's craft. There have been tons of authors that stopped working in the literary industry because they are literally constantly scrutinized, not constructively, but scrutinized out of spite, out of a viral moment, and their name is used to get that viral moment, if that makes sense. Because it is still a person's craft and their creativity, and they're giving it to us. And if we have problems with it, we should either directly DM them or email them respectfully, or just keep it in the group chat. And what I hate to say is a lot of the readers don't understand group chat policy. Keep it in the group chat, because the authors are human. They
Right.
are people. They have lives. Some of them have health issues. And here you come with this foolery. Now, I just think us as readers, we have a due diligence to do amongst ourselves and to the authors that we claim that we love. Not every book that I've read from my favorite authors that I said, oh, I like this book. Some books I didn't like, but I didn't go on the internet and say that.
Right. Me personally, and I get it's part of Book Talk, which is why I limit my time that I am on TikTok, and I try to curate my feed. But for some reason, my books always find me on my For You page. But I just never got the whole DNF thing. Like, I mean, I get if you didn't finish your book, that's fine. But I never got the whole. All right, let me talk about why I hated this book. It's like, why? But it's your page. You're free to do what you do. Just don't tag me, because then when I'm mean nasty now, it's not, oh, she made a whole video saying why she hate Jahquel J books. It's, oh, Jahquel cursed her out because she tagged her. It's never the reason. Is always the reaction. So it's just like, I would rather people not, if you don't like my books, I don't even read my reviews. Like, my books just go out. I don't read my reviews. I have pretty thick skin. I've been in the industry for 11 years, so I have pretty thick skin. If somebody don't like my book, it's like, okay, well, you read it. I mean, I got paid for it, so it is what it is. But I just don't like, and it's not even with myself. Like, I've seen people tag other authors and going crazy on their books, and I'm just like, girl, you want me to fight them for you? Because it's just
Girl,
like, why? Like, why do any of that? It's just like, but I get that is what Book Talk is.
it is.
So I mind my business. If you don't like my book, you don't like my book. I just keep it pushing and just stay. I choose to put my support with those that do love and support and build them up, rather than even giving somebody attention.
I have to learn that, because usually I just call a bitch by her name and make a video about it.
Listen,
Like,
this has not always, like, when I first came in the industry, like, I was telling people, like, I will fly to come see you. Like, what's up?
I will too. I am Jahquel, you don't know me, but I have done that in the past, and I have came to book events and to confront people. Fluke just came to book events, and A.A. Lewis damn near had a heart attack. Like, girl, don't you do it? Because I was ready. I came there with Vaseline on, fucking white beater and everything else. Ready.
It brings you to that, because some people are just so mean and nasty, and then they don't realize that certain people, this is online, and then certain people are really about that offline. Like, you can't say some mean, crazy stuff to people and then not expect them to ready to square up when they see you.
Exactly.
Me, I'm saved. I'm not that person no more. I count down now. I get offline. I'll be like, okay, I'm good. But the old
I'm that person. I'm that person.
When I see my memories, I be like, girl.
Yo, I'm trying to get where you at. I was in a Zen moment, but people try to take me out. Look, I am that life, y'all. I am. I am for real. I ain't even playing. I am. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. I take trips. I tell my husband, have bail ready. I do. Stop it. All right. So you've been both traditional and indie publishing. What's the biggest difference? And why did you choose to stay indie?
The biggest difference is the control. You don't have as much creativity when you're traditional. Like you don't get to pick what your cover looks like. Sometimes you have to go, I'm used to being indie where if this is the storyline, this is my storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But with traditional, sometimes you have to get approval for a storyline before you can even start it. So I prefer to be hybrid because I'm able to have that control, but also still, be able to be in stores and write traditionally too. But that's the most thing, and I think a lot of authors would agree. It's you don't get to for a cover sometimes, and thankfully for me with Black Odyssey, I had a vision for a cover and they came through. Like they followed my vision to a T. But you don't get that all the time with different traditional publishers.
If you had a chance to talk to the major big publishers outside of the indie publishing world, what would you say to them about what they got it wrong with the contemporary romance and the urban fiction and even the paranormal world when it comes to Black authors? What did they get it wrong, and what do they need to understand about the demographic?
I would say they got it wrong not betting on Black in general. Like it doesn't even matter the what you're writing. I just feel like they don't feel like our people go out there and buy books like some of the others, and they are fucking wrong because at the end of the day, our people is what shot me to number one in the Kindle store. So it's like we go out and we buy books. Like we buy, but we want good books. We don't want watered down shit that we're not reading. So I feel like they need to put more money behind Black authors. Trust that we can bring our people to the bookstores. Put us to the front. Stop putting, because when I go, I haven't been in Target in a good little minute. But the last time I was in Target and my book was there, my book was at the bottom shelf. Like who's seeing your book down there? But the other ones are at the top, so you don't really notice those Black books at the bottom. So I feel like they need to put the money behind Black authors. They need to trust that Black authors can sell like our white counterparts, and realize that like shit. When you look at Sinners, the numbers for Sinners, like that's because our people went out there and we watched it. Like, but they're so scared to put that support behind us, thinking they're not gonna get that return back.
Yeah, yeah. It's unfortunate. It's real unfortunate. Did you ever consider selling the Delgado series to a traditionally publishing house? And what was if it happened? What would that experience be like? Or would you just rather keep it the way it is?
Um, it was supposed to be traditional, but they didn't want it. So, um,
What do you mean they didn't want it?
they didn't want the story. They wanted me to switch a storyline, and I just shelved it. And I wasn't gonna even put it out, but my husband was like, "Write that shit." Like, if you have, and I had it so built in my head. I'm like, I was so frustrated. Like, oh, this is what I want to write. This is what I want to put out there. But they wanted to go a different way, so I respected that. And my husband was like, "You need to write it. Like, this is what you see, this is what you want, write it, put it out. Like you publish yourself, you're self-published, do it yourself." And that's when I did it. But I don't think I would sell the Delgados to anybody. I'll never say never, but as of right now, I don't think I would.
You secured a warehouse space. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What does that expansion mean for your brand, and what can readers expect next from that?
No more pre-orders. I will have everything on stock because listen, the pre-orders like I that has driven me crazy. That people don't know what pre-order means.
Girl.
But for the having a warehouse space, it means I can put more and I don't have to do pre-orders because I was limited because everything was in my living room. So it
Uh-huh.
was only so much that at one point I had my living room, I had my office, and I had my garage filled to the brim. Like I haven't sat in my living room, and I'm not even joking, in 6 months.
Dang.
So right. So I'm able to now put more books. Like today we just got our shipment in. It came in on a 18 wheeler, so we can fill the warehouse so that when you guys order, when I do open the site, it's like, okay, you're not on a pre-order, but let us ship, let us put together your order, because a lot of people, they don't know what a pre-order is. And then it was like the messages like, I've been waiting,
Ah,
I'm waiting, and I'm just like, it was a
yo,
pre-order.
yo, you and what's it? You and E Bowser. The way I be seeing y'all, like, look. Now it's gonna take a while.
I put it in like in my on my site, like I put it in the description. You have to click it. You have to agree. Then when you go to checkout, you have to agree again, and then they will do all of that. And then I will get a message like, "Hey, so is there any update on my order?" And I'm just like, "You just placed your order a week ago." So it's frustrating, and as much as I appreciate the support, it's very frustrating because then it's only four of us doing it, so it puts a lot of stress on me. Because and then at the same time they're like, so when's my order coming, and when's this book coming, and it's like I cannot write and ship at the same time, which
My
is
God.
why Kwasim is severely delayed, is because it's like you either want your books or you want this book. And it's like, for me, you're not gonna be out here calling me a scammer. So I'm gonna get you your inventory. I'm gonna get all your stuff, and we'll put Kwasim on the back burner.
That's insane. Y'all be going through so much, man. But I had did some research. Uh I looked through some new projects you had on the sites. Concrete Roads.
Yes.
Concrete Roads is gonna be a dark romance.
My first one, so I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
What pulled you towards darker themes, and how will it differ from your MC books?
I think in this dark romance, it's not going to be. I mean, usually y'all be liking that stuff, so y'all probably be like, "Oh, he is bae. Like I love him," but it's not gonna be like, okay, like with Menace, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's met Menace, and it was kind of like, okay, he's a fucking Menace, but he was sweet deep down. Like you grown to love him. He had some kind of like hidden things about him that was like, oh, that's why he's away. Like this guy, he's strictly like, there's gonna be no like, oh, that's why it's gonna be like, oh, that's him.
Mm, mm. You also have a football romance,
I
Fumbled.
do. I do.
What's the energy of that series, and how did writing sport romance challenge you differently?
Um, Mainly because I'd be accidentally calling fouls in sport in football. Like I don't know the
I was
technical.
about to say, you talking about basketball?
Exactly. I be lost sometimes. Like my husband will turn like with the Knicks playing, he been having on the TV, and I will say something. He'd be like, "That's football. What are you talking about?" So I had to learn all the different things and the different things when it comes to football, because all I just know is like, oh, it's football. That's number 23. He's fine, and that's it. Oh, and touchdown.
Funny as hell. All right, the Brickwood series, the yeah Brookwood series has more of a contemporary kind of film.
Hmm.
Everyday love vibes. That's what it's given. What inspired That shift. And do you write it differently than you do your MC work, your dark romance, your football series, or any other books that you have came out with?
Um, yeah, it's very different from what I usually write. I wouldn't say it's so much different from like my sports romance. I would say the same vibe, but it's very different from like my urban and
Mm.
stuff because it's more cutesy. There's no real drama.
Mhm.
You have the falling in love at first sight. It's
Mm.
like small town, like Hallmark, black Hallmark.
I like that. So let's talk about your Facebook group.
Lord, Lord.
Your Facebook group is ride or die. What do your readers mean to you, especially the ones who've been with you since book one?
They are family. Like I've seen them have children. I've seen their kids graduate high school. I've seen their kids have kids. So it's like at this point we like family. Like some of them have my number and text me. So like we're locked in. But
Mm.
as far as all my readers, especially new, I appreciate them all the same. Like I see it as we just cousins. That's why when they be like, "I'm your biggest fan," you're not. You're just my cousin because I just don't like the fan word. So it's like when they come see me at events, it just feels like, "Oh, your favorite cousin just popped into town and we chilling."
Yeah. You have a book event coming up, Empire State Stories Lit in the City Reunion. Why was it important to create a literary event rooted in your community in your city?
I've always wanted to do an event back home just so my family could come and see what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I always hope to be invited to an event back home.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided why not do my own and have it as my love letter to my city. Welcome people who've never been to
Mm-hmm.
see what my city is about and who read my books and be like, I want to know I want to taste sticky wings. I want to see this bridge. I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
They can see it.
Yeah, I love that. What can readers expect merch wise? MC vests, limited books, bundles.
The event.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is talk about a box. It will be a limited box. I can't say what's in it, but there will be a box.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When will event tickets go on sale and where can we find them?
The event tickets will go on sale. They were gonna go in June, but we pushed it back a little bit. So they will go either August or September. We're trying to figure out between each one because there's so many events going on. So we understand that everybody got to get their pockets together because these they are popping up. So either August or September, and the site I will drop the site on my story sometime this week.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. You trying to steal all our money. I see. I see. I key. Where will you be in 2025 and 2026 in terms of events and appearances?
Well, I'm gonna be with you in February of 2026.
She's the highlighted author. I was gonna wait until after the interview to discuss it.
Oh, my bad, my bad. I ain't gonna be with her in 2026. I don't know what I'm talking about. um, I for 2025, I'm going to be. Let me see if I get it right. I'm going to be at the Black Romance Fest
Mm-hmm.
this month. Um, in July, I'm going to be at the All Star by Alexandria House. I'm going to be at the house party. I think it's the All Star weekend. Then in August, I'm going to be in Milwaukee
Mm-hmm.
at I want to say the Romance Fest,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then in August, September. No. Actually, August. I'm going to be in Detroit at
I'll see you
ICU.
there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Detroit September because it's like I think a week away. They're both a week apart. I'm gonna be in Milwaukee, and then September I'm gonna be in Chicago, and then October I'm going to be at Southern Hearts,
Mm-hmm.
Books on the Ground, and then Delgado and Family event in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay. Where can people directly buy your books and merch to support you and not that platform stealing from you?
Um, you can always get my books from my website, www.jahquel.com. Um, you can buy them off Amazon too, but they're priced higher because Amazon barely pays us shit for paperbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But so I always encourage you to get them off my site if you want the discount. But yeah, that's where you can find any merch and anything like that.
What advice do you have for indie authors starting today, especially Black women writing outside of the mainstream?
Hmm. Stay in your lane. Find what works for you. Fine tune it, perfect it, and stay in your lane. Don't look over what this person's doing. Don't look over what that person's doing. Focus on you. Have tunnel vision for what you're doing, and don't stop. Like once you get in there, keep going. Keep pushing yourself. Don't. I always say being consistent. Even when I publish, I preach this to my authors. Like you have to be consistent. You can't be somebody that drops one book in August and then we don't see you until next year. And then you're wondering why your books, nobody's talking about your books, nobody's reading them. It's because you're not consistent. Readers look for a consistent author. And that doesn't mean somebody who drops twice a month or anything like that. That just means somebody that's frequently putting out works, whether it's 3-4 months apart, but you're frequently putting out work.
Drop your social handles where folks can find your private Facebook group because I know they're gonna want in after this episode.
Lord, y'all gonna stress my husband out because he's the one that does people. It's Jahquel J's official reading group. Come in there like you got some sense. Cause y'all be up in there. We have a good time in there. I mean, sometimes there's drama, but there's always drama somewhere. But yeah, answer the questions because some of y'all don't never answer the questions. And yeah.